Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel and my first ever YouTube video. I'm very excited to get started. It's taken me a long while to get into this, but now I'm finally sitting down and I am gonna just do a little introduction video for you, just kind of who I am, how I started out in the vlogging world, and just a little bit more about what you can expect really. So yeah, don't mind Mila. She is sat in the background purring, so if if you have some strange noises, that's probably what it is. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Abby, I am 23 and I am a blogger over on Simply AJ. Now I will link it down below, so if you guys want to check it out then do feel free. I do blog and now vlog as a hobby because I actually work full-time as a accounts administrator in a construction energy efficiency company. So I do that Monday to Friday 9 till 5, so obviously doesn't really leave an awful lot of time left for blogging, but it's something that I do love, which is what keeps me going. As you can probably tell from my accent, I do live in Newcastle, but actually I am not a full Geordie. I was born and raised over in West Northumberland. The little town that I am from is actually halfway between here and Carlisle on the Cumbria-Northumberland border, so that's where I'm from. I've been living over in Newcastle now about 2 years, I want to say, and before that I lived in York for 3 years, which is where I studied at university doing an accounting and finance degree. So on Simply AJ I mostly talk about beauty, travel and lifestyle. It's something that I really love. I did start out with the beauty side of it. I do a lot more lifestyle posts now than I used to. Obviously growing up there is a lot more things to talk about. I did very much start out to be kind of doing as much with one as I was with the other, focusing mostly on the beauty side of things, but obviously as you grow older and you develop and you start working life and stuff like that, you do realise that you have a lot more stuff to talk about on lifestyle, so that kind of is my main area now. And I'm also just recently on Simply AJ started talking about chronic illness, which I'll come into a little bit later on, but it is something that I've recently started doing, so you'll begin to see a lot more of that on there as well. So a little bit as to why I started blogging. I originally started because back in, I want to say 2012, 2013 time, I was diagnosed with a condition called joint hypermobility syndrome. It's also known as hypermobility spectrum disorder, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or chronic musculoskeletal pain. It's got a variety of names. It kind of keeps changing as the years go by and more research comes about and they realise how similar the conditions are to others. So I have been hypermobile since I was born, as a lot of you might be as well, but unfortunately with that I have also got the syndrome side of it, where you get the side effects, the pain, the other conditions that come with that. So that's what I have. So I was diagnosed with that in 2012, 2013 after quite a turbulent diagnosis journey, but we got there in the end. But obviously back then when I was first diagnosed there wasn't an awful lot of information available to research, understand, kind of very much so there was very little experiences about it. So obviously you had the likes of the factual and the medical and that sort of stuff, but you didn't really have much of the, well, I have this condition, this is how I live type of thing, to be able to see how your life might be with this condition. So that's really why I started my blog. I actually started over on a blog called Living with JHS, which again I will link down below. I don't post on it anymore, but you can obviously pop over and have a look at the old posts that I've got on there. And I started that because obviously I wanted to go through my journey and be able to have people who understand what they're going through. So obviously people that are newly diagnosed and stuff like that, I really wanted people to be able to understand how their life might be with one, understand experiences, help other people that don't have the chronic condition, who would be able to understand by listening to someone else's experiences, and obviously just be there as a help and support guide as well, answer any questions. I know how alone I felt going through my diagnosis with no one to speak to about it who understood where I was, and so I wanted to become that person to other people. So basically my aim was just to like inform, advise and support other people going through the same thing as I'd been through. However, from there I then started going through more talking about other bits and pieces on my blog, so the beauty, the travel and other little things that didn't necessarily relate to chronic illness, and at the time I wanted Living with GHS to kind of focus on the chronic illness side of things and how to live with the chronic illness, so people could just click on my blog, go through and find the post that they wanted to that would relate to what they were looking for. I kind of felt like I should take my hobbies as such away, and that's how Simply AJ was born. So AJ comes from, my middle name is Joanne, so obviously Abby Joanne. My uncle, when I was little, always used to call me AJ, and it was just something that as I was creating my blog name kind of stuck with me. So yeah, I became Simply AJ because I am simply me. So that's how that came, and as I say, it was literally just about making sure that Living with GHS stayed focusing on chronic illness, while Simply AJ became there to write about my hobbies and my interests without getting in the way of each other. However, what I really didn't think of at the time was that obviously, yes, people want to know about chronic illness, they want to understand the information and the experiences, but actually my hobbies and interests are my experiences because I do them as someone who lives with a chronic illness. So therefore they don't just want to see what I'm doing as someone with a chronic illness, they also want to see my side away from that. Yes, I will always have that chronic illness, but I do have interests and hobbies outside of that, and people do want to see them, and it's become apparent to me in the past couple of months that that is the case, which is where my decision to merge Living with GHS and Simply AJ came from, because I realised, one, it was very, very time consuming and hard to keep up with two blogs essentially. There was just so much going on. Obviously I had all the social media for both blogs, I had both blogs, the thoughts and ideas that go into one blog, never mind two. It all at that time just got a bit too much, which is where I ended up taking a break from it altogether. So both Living with GHS and Simply AJ ended up suffering because I'd all got in too deep about it. And two, obviously, as I said, people want to know what I'm like. People who knew me through Simply AJ would probably want to read about the fact that I do have a chronic illness and that makes up part of who I am, while the people who read Living with GHS want to see what my hobbies and interests are outside of that. So I just thought it was the best thing to do, and Simply AJ is where I'm at with that because I think it defines me a lot more. I am simply me. I am writing about who I am with my chronic illness, but also about my hobbies and interests. My blog isn't just about chronic illness. I have other bits and pieces that make up that, and therefore to merge it onto Living with GHS just didn't make sense. So that's where that has come from. And obviously then through doing all of that, my YouTube channel has been born, and here I am with my first video to you guys. So I know I've rambled on a little bit, but I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of who I am, what I post about, and then obviously what you can expect from my YouTube channel. So what can you expect? My plan is to kind of round off what I talk about on Simply AJ and kind of talk about it as someone where you can sit and listen to me, you can see me actually chatting to you about it and stuff like that, rather than just reading it behind a screen. When someone's filming or talking, you can understand a lot better, because you've obviously got tone, you've got different things, and it just makes it that more informal and friendlier, because you can see the person talking about it, you can see the blogger behind the screen, and that's really what my YouTube channel is about. It's about making sure that you guys can see me as a blogger behind the screen, because you can't see someone through a screen, you don't know what they're like, and therefore, like, I just feel like I've got so much more to give, and that's where this has come from. So one, obviously round off stuff I talk about on Simply AJ. Monthly roundups, what I've been up to on a month-to-month basis, events I've been to, stuff I've been going to, family weekends, meeting up with friends, just, yeah, monthly roundups, find out what I've been doing, kind of outside of what I talk about on Simply AJ. Obviously then event vlogs, I get invited to events. Most recently I got invited to go to a beauty event, and that was actually really interesting. I hadn't been to an event for a very, very long time. I did film some of it, so you might see that coming up in one of my later videos. But I love their new range, and I'm looking forward to speaking a bit more about that. A few get ready with me's just to back up the beauty stuff that I talk about on Simply AJ. So obviously it's all good and well reviewing a palette or kind of saying what my skincare routine is and stuff like that, but then actually transforming as to like how I do my skincare routine, how I put my makeup on, actually seeing my reviews and how they go on my face and stuff like that. Obviously, yes, all good and well, I can say, well, this swatches well and this, that and the other. However, you can't gauge, it's a swatch, you can't gauge how it goes on well until you see someone putting it on. So obviously get ready with me, see how I do my makeup, both for work, when I do put makeup on for work, obviously evening, date nights, stuff like that, just kind of getting it all filmed, and you can all just see how I do my makeup differently on a day-to-day basis. Trips out, as I've said previously, like when I go to the likes of Whitley Bay, or I go down to York or stuff like that, just filming little bits and pieces about what you can do in those places, what there is to see, stuff like that. I'm really getting a sense of whether it's somewhere that you would like to visit as well. Single life. One of my most recent posts on Simply AJ was about being newly single, and so obviously single life will be something that I will be talking about on here, so I'm looking forward to venturing that one with you guys. General updates on what living with a chronic illness is like. Obviously, again, all good and well reading about stuff behind a screen, but actually filming about different things and talking about my experiences really does make that difference. Sorry, that's Myla bouncing down behind me. Myla, of course, in the crazy kitten, well, not kitten, she's now 1, but in the crazy cat that she is. It's safe to say that she is certainly my kitten, and she is suited to be my kitten, because we're probably both as crazy as each other, but God, do I love her. And then obviously anything else you guys want to see. Obviously this YouTube channel is for me, but it's also for you guys, so if you've got any suggestions, any thoughts on what you might want to see, then please do drop your suggestions down below. I have got ideas upon ideas of stuff to film and write, but obviously I do also need suggestions, because at some point those ideas might just run out, so that's where your suggestions will come in. So hopefully that is everything kind of summed up as to what you can expect from my channel. I'm hoping that I'm gonna be able to post every 2 weeks, but I am kind of leaning more towards the at least once a month mark, just because obviously sometimes I do have busy weekends. Obviously I work Monday to Friday 9 till 5. It's not always going to be easy to do the filming, the editing, especially moving into winter, because obviously now the darker nights will be starting to head this way, which means I won't have the lovely bright nights to film. So it'll be one of those where I'm going to try and post as much as possible, but I am, as I say, hopefully going to be able to stick to the at least once a month, and we'll see how it goes. Obviously it is a journey, and it is one that we will do together, but hopefully it works out well. So Thank you for watching this. I hope that I have answered all and any questions that you might have had about what you can expect from this, who I am, what I do and stuff like that. But if you have any questions, do pop them down below and I will answer them. I might feature them in my next video and probably at some point do a Q&A session like every couple of months or something, because I always think they're quite interesting. It really does make you be able to learn the blogger behind the screen, and that's literally what this is about. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening to me ramble, but we got there, so thank you and I shall see you all soon.